Amerindian Heritage Month 2020 is being commemorated this year in unusual circumstances. While the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic has tempered this year's observance, it has failed to cripple our ability to honor and celebrate with our Amerindian brothers and sisters. My fellow Guyanese, and in particular my Amerindian brothers and sisters, I'm happy to greet you at the start of Amerindian Heritage Month, though under difficult circumstances. I know for you, the circumstances are even much worse. The difficulties in terms of community life, food security, health services, lack of access to key and critical essential services in your communities. Notwithstanding this, all of you in your communities have shown Guyana the strength of character in dealing with this pandemic. I assure you that your government, the People's Progressive Party civic government, would continue to work in a holistic manner to ensure that the policies and programs we create to address this pandemic would bring relief to you at a community level, at your household level, and more importantly, that will see us ride out this difficult period in our history together, united, and at the end of it, we must all be stronger. Today, we commence celebration with you, all of you, the Akawayos, the Arakonas, the Arawaks, the Caribs, the Patamonas, Waiwais, Waras, and the Wapishanas. All of you form a valuable part of the rich heritage of our homeland. Whether you live in the mighty Pacaraimas, the sprawling savannas of the Rupununi, in the Upper Mazaruni, the Cayuni, the Northwest District, in the rainforests, or along our rivers, you are the ones who first inherited this land and who have treasured and protected it for generations. I want to assure you that your government will never underestimate the value of this heritage. Neither will we ever take you for granted. On this note, I want to thank all of you, every one of you, for your consistent support for the party which I represent, the People's Progressive Party Civic. But more importantly, for your support in ensuring that not only the PPP Civic formed the new government, but that I stand here today as your president. I thank you sincerely, and we do appreciate the support you have given us. It is for this reason that we have always recognized your rights. Rights not only to your land, rights to economic empowerment, rights to self-determination, rights for social justice, economic justice. And I want to assure you that my government will be building an agenda moving forward that would reinforce those rights, that would ensure that you and every one of your community benefit equally from the development pie of our country, that we will ensure social programs, economic programs, stimulus programs reach to every single one of your community. One of the first tasks I did as president was to work with Vice President Jagdeo, who has responsibility for finance, and your subject minister, in reprogramming resources that were there. Some of these resources have already been reprogrammed to bring back the solar panel program to your household, to give you back the one laptop program in your communities, to give you electricity in your communities. $10 million has already been reprogrammed for this from an Indian line of credit. So I want to assure you that your priorities, the priorities you engaged me with during the campaign, I had the distinguished task of moving in every single one of your community, talking to all of the leaders, talking to the people from the community. I understand your needs. I feel your needs. I know the areas of weakness. You communicated this to me directly. And today, I want to assure you that I am committed even stronger than I was during the campaign to ensure that this government, your government, work on fulfilling the aspirations, the needs of your community in giving you a stronger life, a better life, a more secure future, and one in which the young people in your community can be proud of and know that every single Amerindian community has a sustainable and viable future. Our strong commitment to your inclusion in nation building is already reflected in our actions. Today, not only did you see 5 talented Amerindians being sworn in as Member of Parliament from our side, but you would have seen the People's Progressive Party civic government paving the way and supporting for the first time a Deputy Speaker of Amerindian Heritage. This, you would also have known by now, that we have appointed our first United Nation Ambassador, another Amerindian, one of your own, Carlin Rodriguez, who was the former Minister of Amerindian Affairs. You will see many more appointments of persons of Amerindian heritage. And those appointments are not made for no other reason than the fact that they are talented Guyanese. They deserve every appointment that would have been made, and we are sure and confident that they will make a strong contribution to Guyana's development. I join in commending the Minister of Amerindian Affairs, the Honorable Pauline Sukai, and her ministry for their resourcefulness, considering the limitation of time, money, and social restrictions in organizing today's virtual launch. I applaud their innovative efforts in finding creative and virtual ways of celebrating Amerindian Heritage 2020. I want to assure you, my Amerindian brothers and sisters, that as soon as the situation permits, I will be in every single one of your community. I'll be there listening to you again, talking to you, working with you as we develop a common agenda in taking your priorities forward. The theme this year, fostering traditional practices for a safe environment, is fitting in the context of the challenges presently facing our country. The theme emphasizes the key role which cultural assets, including indigenous knowledge, traditions and customs and lifestyles, can play in ensuring a safe environment. Indeed, as we confront the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, indigenous traditional practices will form a key part of the arsenal of measures intended to stem the virus spread. While there are many threats still to be tackled in your village, as in many other parts of Guyana, the foremost threat at this moment is posed by COVID-19 pandemic. And in this regard, I assure you that your government remains resolute in ensuring the safety of indigenous communities. And not only the safety at an individual level, but the issues of food security. We will be announcing measures very shortly that are aimed directly at every household in the hinterland to bring relief, to bring ease, and to improve your living standards. I've directed the Minister of Health to fast-track hinterland interventions and measures, and he has advised me that following sweeping consultations currently underway with Amerindian leaders, emergency measures will be announced shortly. Amerindian Heritage Month 2020 also marks the return to comprehensive Amerindian development, which was placed front and center by the PPP Civic Administration. Sadly, over the past 5 years, there was an unfortunate regression in your development, which we shall immediately reverse. Not only will we reverse the backward steps imposed by the coalition government, but we will unlock a new era of rapid transformation for the hinterland communities and our forest peoples. And we will not wait for the COVID-19 pandemic to subside. My government will soon initiate a virtual consultation with the National Tushaus Council to chart the course for the delivery of our manifesto promises. Guyana's forest people can be assured that under my administration, your economic and social empowerment will be non-political and non-negotiable. As promised in our manifesto, we'll ensure greater participation by villages in government projects and increased representation of Amerindians on government boards. The Amerindian Act will be revised and strengthened, but importantly, in consultation with local leaders and communities. Food production will be expanded and food processing will be increased to bolster hinterland food security. Skills training relevant to the oil and gas sector will include Amerindians, business facilitation, agricultural development, and of course, ensuring that Amerindians have access to university education and technical education. These are the promises we made, and we are going to deliver on these promises to you. Our local content policy must be able to create opportunities for Amerindians. It must be able to take your development aspirations into consideration, and it must be able to reflect your development needs also. Amerindians can look forward to improvements in social services. Health facilities will be increased, upgraded, and better equipped to provide enhanced and more accessible health care across the hinterlands. Indigenous children can look forward to a higher quality of education, including through the use of information communication technology, the provision of more and better trained teachers, and also the awards of scholarships. Hinterland water infrastructure and electrification program we started will be expanded through the use of alternative energy technologies such as solar and hydropower. We know that the land is central to indigenous people's development. That is why previous PPC administration made Amerindian lands demarcation and titling an absolute priority. The PPP civic government wanted to ensure that indigenous peoples are not deprived of their rights to the lands with which they occupy, utilize, and to which they are entitled. And so, my administration will immediately restore the land project and establish a special mechanism to resolve land dispute. The protection of Amerindian rights, the preservation of your culture, your political, economic, and social empowerment will also be central pillars of the PP civic government policies. We'll ensure that Amerindians are not left behind in a transformative agenda and the development path that we take. This agenda will sweep our country into a modern future, one in which you will definitely play your part and be part of. That is why the benefits of your empowerment, which were so heartlessly snatched away, will be restored. The community development plans will be reintroduced to ensure that you're able to determine the sustainable livelihoods that you desire. We'll rehire those 2,000 community service officers who were dismissed by the coalition government, and we'll restore the school grants which were taken away from you. We'll return to our groundbreaking partnership forged through the low carbon development strategy and advance the innovative opt-in feature which allowed villages to benefit directly from the proceeds of carbon trading services. During our campaign, we listened to you, as we did in all communities across the length and breadth of our country. You told us what you want for infrastructure, and we are now working on an agenda to deliver that to you. You told us what you want for education, and we are going to deliver that to you. You told us what you want for economic livelihood, what you want for the transformation of your communities. You told us what you want to make life easier, to reduce the cost of transportation. Yes, we listened, we heard, and you're going to see concrete steps in successive budgets to address these needs. You also would have mentioned to us the remuneration for tushals and leaders. We listened to you, and it is also part of our agenda going forward. You call for the establishment of a permanent, self-staffed, well-equipped, and fully supported Secretariat building. Yes, we heard you, and we are committed to this. The firearms for your farmers and leaders will be returned, as will your dignity and respect. You will benefit from a special budgetary allocation for housing and home improvement, and government at every level will function with the inclusion of qualified and talented Amerindians, as we have already done in the 12th Parliament. My brothers and sisters of the hinterland, the riverine communities, though this Heritage Month finds us under the crushing burden of the COVID-19 pandemic, with tremendous and regrettable loss of life among us, it also comes on the brink of our social and economic transformation as a nation. My government takes its obligation to ensure that the benefits to be derived from our newfound oil and gas resources in the coming years are equitably distributed among all of our people, with no policy to take away from deprive Amerindians of their rights to these resources. We value your contributions. We honor your heritage and sacrifices, and we will do everything in our power to help you realize your dreams and aspirations. This historic year of the preservation of our cherished democracy offers renewed hope for all of us. Hope of a better quality of life and a more secured future, a better Guyana, a more united Guyana. So as we celebrate Amerindian Heritage Month 2020, let us renew our efforts, renew our commitment, renew our love for community, for the environment, for each other, as together we charter the way forward for a safer, more secure Guyana, in which all of us can proudly be a part of and can say the development of our country is linked to the development of our communities. Thank you very much. God bless you. Stay safe, and remember to adhere to the protocols and guidelines of the COVID-19 task force. Thank you very much. God bless you.